all the students are pretty shook up, whoever was involved tonight.
And understandably so, after a brick column at Lewis and Clark College collapsed, killing one student and hurting two others. The accident happened on the first day of school for students. Good evening, I'm Laurel Porter.
And I'm David Mulco, and tonight that small campus home to about 2,000 students in Southwest Portland is understandably grieving. Mike Benner joins us now from Lewis and Clark College. Mike, an incredibly tough 24 hours there. What are you hearing tonight?
You know, David, not a whole lot is being said, at least to us, and that is understandable. I don't think the shock has lifted from this place yet. As we can all relate to, the start of a school year, especially at the college level, should be a joyous and exciting time. But here at Lewis and Clark, it was nothing short of horrific.
Tuesday morning at Lewis and Clark College in Southwest Portland, students moved between classes just hours after a fellow student was killed on campus and two others injured.
Some strange things happen, but brutal.
Count neighbor Randy Tesser among those who are heartbroken and baffled by what happened late Monday night. We're told a brick column standing about 9 feet tall collapsed, injuring two 18-year-old women and killing a 19-year-old man. All of this unfolding on the first day of classes for undergrads, as Terry Foster of Portland Fire and Rescue touched on Monday night.
This is tragic, but these kids are starting to adjust to college life, some of them for the first time, and it can be very challenging for them when they have this trauma.
Foster says the brick column may have collapsed due to what was attached to it, 3 hammocks holding 6 people.
First thing I thought of was how awful it would be for the parents. I mean, God. And you think, I don't know, how can that possibly happen?
It's a question so many are asking themselves after an absolutely tragic start to the academic year.
Shocking, honestly, to think that there's something like that happened that close to our house. And they do.
All right, back out here live. Nobody from the administration wanted to go on camera today, but just within the last couple of minutes, they did release some additional information, and I want to pass that along right now. They tell us that those 3 hammocks we mentioned were attached to some freestanding columns that are part of the historic grape arbor in the lower estate garden on the undergraduate campus. And of course, one of those columns did collapse, killing the one student, injuring the 2 others. The college president, Robin Holmes Sullivan, saying that she is devastated by the loss of life and devastated by the injuries to the 2 other students. And she tells us that school officials are working with students and staff to get through this. Let's send it back to you.
Well, we send our deepest condolences to the entire Lewis and Clark community. Thank you, Mike. We just got an update on the shooting at a Safeway store in Bend. Police say so far they've recovered more than 100 shell casings from the scene. Bend police say 20-year-old Ethan Miller purchased 3 guns legally. We also learned that Miller worked at Safeway for a short time. Video surveillance is also showing the heroic effort by Safeway worker Donald Surratt Jr. Instead of running, he hid behind a produce cart. When Miller turned away, Surratt attacked him with a produce knife. Miller killed Surratt before taking his own life. Police found an AR-15 next to the shooter with 4 magazines of 30 rounds of ammunition. There is a GoFundMe for both victims. Surratt was a disabled veteran, a former combat engineer. 84-year-old Glenn Bennett was also shot and killed inside the store. According to a GoFundMe, Bennett was also a veteran who served as a medic in Korea. Last night in Bend, dozens of people gathered to honor the victims.
We don't want this to happen in our town, and it does happen other places, but we don't expect it.
Safeway and Albertsons announced this afternoon that there will be donation collections at the registers of all Oregon and Southern Washington stores to benefit the victims' families.
Some really chilling details there. All right, classes in the Ridgefield School District will start tomorrow, even as the teachers union voted to strike. The union now saying staff could walk off the job as soon as next week. Daisy Caballero joins us from Union Ridge Elementary. Daisy, the timing here is really tricky. A lot of parents are going to be watching this very, very closely.
Yeah, David, you're totally right. And if the district and the teachers don't really agree on a contract, this will be the first time since 2018 that teachers would go on strike.
It's frustrating. We're at a very frustrating place.
Ridgefield District teachers asking for what they say is a fair new contract. They have been bargaining with the district for the last few months for a 5.5% cost of living adjustment as inflation is in full force, something other districts in Clark County already have.
School district has their own agreement with their teachers union. So, the terms can be very different across the board.
As of Monday night, the Teachers Association and the district have yet to agree on a new contract. Elizabeth Stamp, co-president of the Ridgefield Education Association, says teachers are also asking for smaller class sizes for special education. And she adds they're ready to go on strike if it comes down to it.
We'll eventually go on strike. We will do that. We don't want to, though. We know how much that impacts the community, our students, our families, and we love them. We love what we do. This isn't what we want to be doing. In fact, I should be in my classroom right now preparing for tomorrow and tonight for my students and families to come.
The school year starts tomorrow, and the district says they believe their offer is fair, and they're doing what they can with what they have.
We definitely understand the value of those smaller classrooms and having more individual learning opportunities for students and for staff to not be overwhelmed. We'd really, like to be able to be more flexible.
Joe says the district has been unable to pass a bond which would allow the expansion of current schools, implying this request on its own is out of their control. The district has a little under 4,000 students, and as the community keeps on growing, class sizes are expected to expand within the 5 schools in the district.
I would just like them to listen to teachers and respect our profession and respect us, because I don't feel like that is being done right now.
Now, regardless of the contract negotiation, teachers here at the Union Ridge Elementary School are currently preparing for their open house for both parents and students as well. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Daisy. And it's back to school in the Portland Public School District. Most students in the district are back today or tomorrow. PPS does a staggered start. High school freshmen didn't start until noon today, and kindergartners start next week. It's an especially big day at Lincoln High School. The brand new building is open for the first time. Superintendent Guadalupe Guerrero says it's nice to focus on learning instead of COVID protocols.
The pressures of pandemic and everything else, our educators have been absolutely outstanding. I'm so re-energized to see them engaged back on teaching and learning. They've always been dedicated to that, but for us to be able to start the school year really squarely focused on learning, what a concept with the Portland Public Schools. But we're here and excited about that.
Construction crews are demolishing the old Lincoln High that sits right next to our KGW studios. We've had a front row seat and have enjoyed watching the progress. A new athletic field should be done in 2023. And it's a hot start for students. PPS had to send out a warning to parents because so many school buildings are older and they don't have air conditioning. Matt Safino's here now. Matt, how long will this latest hot weather last?
We're going to stay warm for quite a while. It's interesting, though, that video you just showed of the old Lincoln High School coming down, which is right out the window right here. That wall that you showed in that video, that's completely gone now. They've chewed that away. So that southwest corner of Lincoln High School, the old one, no more. All right, we ended up hitting in Portland today 99 degrees, one of our warmest days of the summer. Boy, it's been a hot one, right? So we will stay warm, but we won't be this warm. Didn't see any hundreds in the metro area, but Medford did it, and the Dow's 104, the hot spot in the state. But cooler winds will begin to seep inland tonight. Notice I said seep, not like flow or flood or push, because it will just be a little bit of an intrusion of cooler air. So our heat advisory ends tonight at 9 o'clock as scheduled, which is great. We still have a fire weather, or we do have a fire weather warning for tomorrow for parts of the day in Southern Oregon and in the Columbia Basin, but that is for tomorrow. All right, so what we're looking at is this. Our heat wave will be winding down a little bit, depending on how you define it. Still in the 90s, but cooler tomorrow. Low 90s, not 99. Low 90s again Thursday and Friday, but back in the 80s over the weekend. So staying warm, staying dry, but we'll take the edge off the heat, Laurel.